What's happening, guys? Captain Blue here, and today we're going to be talking about 3 potential new heavy units per each faction. So the Knights, Samurais, and Vikings that can be added into For Honor. Mind you, these are all just my opinions of sort of what kind of heavies I want introduced into the game. You guys may have different opinions, but let me know those in the comment section below. So straight up, let's just get right into it. We're going to take a look at the Vikings first. And I've been going across other people's YouTube videos, looking through the Reddit. A lot of people want a big burly Viking that has a warhammer or some sort of hammer. Just a big husky sort of guy just walking around smashing people with a big hammer. Now, I think this is great because I've always wanted like a sort of like a guy like Thor or something walking around. But even if it's with a bigger style hammer, I'll take it. Why not, right? So for the moveset on a Viking heavy, I got some things written down here. He'll have like a charged unblockable, so if you hold down the heavy button and it goes full blast, it'll be an unblockable, sort of like Shigoki, but a little bit of a tweak with it. His recovery time, if he does miss the unblockable, is not as heavy as it is with Shigoki, because if a lot of people don't know, you miss or you hit or even miss a fully charged heavy with Shigoki, it's an automatic guard break. I kind of want to pull that back with this Viking hero. And one big thing with a big burly guy like this, he needs to be a crowd controller. I don't know how they'll implement that, but like he needs to be able to just absolutely take on 2 to 3 people. Because if you got a big ass hammer like that and you're a big dude, you need to be able to control a crowd. So what I suggested is, if you see one of your buddies getting ganked, he'll be able to do like the running grab, like the charging grab, sort of like how Raider has it. But if there's 2 enemies that are near to each other that are just ganking one of your boys, he comes and he'll hit one of them down with this hammer while grabbing the other opponent and then just charging him across. So the one guy will be on the floor for a short amount of time, however it is with recovery and getting up and all that, and then the other guy will just be getting pretty much Raider charged across the map, just how Raider does it. So I think that's a good way to help out opponents when they're, or help out your own teammates, when they are getting ganked. But again, none of this stuff is primed for what we have currently in the game, so don't think it's overpowered, underpowered, any of that. It's just ideas that I sort of have that I'm throwing out. And then what I want to see with a lot more characters, so especially with all 3 of these heavies that I'm going to say, every combo or combo finisher that he has, mine if just be a light heavy or 2 lights and a heavy, the last finisher, if it is a heavy, will be an unblockable no matter what. So this way it gives him a little bit of feinting options and something else to go off of in while he's battling, just to throw people around, because it's hard to open up people without having unblockables or any other sort of openers. Now moving on to the Knight heavy. This one's a little bit more complicated. I put a little bit more thought into this. It's gonna be like a paladin Spartan sort of guy with a like a big honky shield and a spear instead of just a regular sword. He's gonna have like a spear sort of thing. And then the way I wanted to make this guy fight on the field, he'll be a two mode fighter, just like how Highlander has his defensive mode and his offensive mode, but you'll be able to switch at will. So by holding R2 for like a half a second or like 1 to 2 seconds, whatever it is, sort of like how Highlanders is, you'll switch to his attack mode or back to his defensive mode, whichever one you want. But with this, it'll be changed that if you get hit, you won't get kicked out of the whichever or the offensive form. So let's say you're in the offensive form, you get hit by a light, like how Highlander is currently, you'll be able to stay in the offensive form and not get kicked out of it. And then the way I wanted to make this heavy is a little bit more offensive minded, with his big honky spear and a shield. So when you go into offensive mode, he tucks his shield onto his back, so attacks that are directed from behind him will smash onto the shield. So he'll only be taking chip damage rather than getting like heavy smashed and all that from behind. So the shield, when he tucks it to his back, has a purpose. It'll just be taking chip damage rather than full blown heavies and all that. As well, in his defensive mode, he'll have a full block stance. I know a lot of people are like, he's just gonna turtle and all that, but it'll be subjective or something. Like they can just make it, you can only sit in it for a certain amount of time or whatever. Like they'll tune it, like Ubisoft will tune it themselves. And then again, every combo finisher at the end of it will have an unblockable which I think it's a good thing for every hero to have. Now, moving on to the Samurai Heavy. I want this heavy to be a little bit more mobile than heavies that we currently have in the game. They're kind of slow and lethargic, not necessarily meaning, like, if you are a bigger dude, it doesn't mean that you are necessarily slow, like, or you should be slow guaranteed. So I want it to be at least fast as like some vanguards. I don't know if that'll be a little bit too overpowered or not, but again, you can always fine tune that sort of thing later on, but a little bit more mobility on him. And then for his heavies, since he'll have a, like, the way I want my samurai to be, he'll be like sort of like a Nobushi, but he'll have his glaive thing as well. Will be a little bit more attacks will be a little bit more chainable. So like what that means is like heavies and lights will be easier to pull off instead of Nobushi's how she's kind of just slow poking. I want this samurai heavy to be able to change his heavy attacks into lights midway. So let's say you're about to throw a heavy, but if you're quick enough and you click your light attack button, he'll switch it into like a little slash instead of like a big winding slash with the glaive. As well, if you do land a heavy attack with him, you'll get a guaranteed light attack with it. So like if he uses his glaive and you hit one side, he'll use the butt end of the glaive to do a little like tap onto the guy's like forehead or whatever, and that'll do like a little bit extra damage. So it's sort of like what assassins have when they do that, the guaranteed light, like Orochi has his, but it won't be as powerful since the heavy, if it does land, will do a lot of damage. But it just gives a little bit more fluidity for the for this guy to be able to just open people up sort of with changing his heavy into lights or getting that guaranteed light after a heavy. And then he'll be like sort of like a Kensai Nobushi heavier style mix, like the way he'll be able to mix things up and all that. But that's the three heavies that I want to see introduced into For Honor for each faction. The big burly warhammer wielding Viking, the either Spartan or Paladin style knight, and the glaive wielding more mobile heavy unit samurai, which I think we are very much needed. We only have 3 heavies in the game, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, make sure to leave a comment with what type of heavy unit you guys would like to see introduced in For Honor and what sort of moves that you would want to see. If you agree with some of the moves, if you disagree, or just pretty much whatever you wanted to comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video for the next set of vanguards that I would like to see in For Honor. Cheers.